On this episode of Saints Happy Hour Podcast, me and Kevin are going to yell about what people are talking about on Saints Twitter. It's going to be amazing. Thomas, hit that intro.
Welcome to the award-winning Saints Happy Hour Podcast. Seriously, this podcast has won awards. American standards are dropping every day. The show features Ralph, the best host in the world, who can barely pronounce his own name, much less anyone else's.
Marcus Callaway.
Dave is that dude who loves taking bathroom breaks. He's mad about almost anything, so make sure to lower your volume when he speaks.
Put that freaking clown meme back up that I made. Jesus Christ.
Andrew has sources, watches tapes, and knows football. He rarely shows up on time and wants to commit crimes to help the Saints win.
Sean Payton would have done illegal things. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know it's true.
Oh, and there's also Kevin, who is great at doing mock drafts, but struggles to actually watch Saints games or have a functioning relationship.
Butteridge wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Anyway, grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy the insanity.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour Podcast. As always, we are brought to you by Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. All right, I got Kevin with me today, Thomas running the show back in Poland. Today, we're going to go through a couple of topics, what Saints Twitter's talking about or has been talking about, and we're going to yell at people. We're going to scream. Me and Kevin are going to argue. And I want to start here, Kevin. It's salary cap season time with the NFL in general, and of course,
you got the right guy for this one.
The Saints, of course, run their salary cap like no one else does. They're negative $83 million in the hole, and oh my God, it's the end of the world. And listen, the thing is with the Saints, there's a lot to criticize about them. They've gone 9-8. 7-10 the last 2 years. There's a lot to criticize. The drafts have been bad. We'll get into that in a second. But the thing that frustrates me about the salary cap, most of all, is this take from this guy. And I picked him because he was the more clear one, and I don't like him. Adam Harsdad. He's just annoying with a lot of his stuff. But no, I'm just kidding. He's all right. Whatever. I don't know. But this take that he has, it's the take that everyone that's lazy about the cap, they're like, if the Saints could cut everyone on the roster that could get them cap space for this year, and they'd still not have enough to get under the cap. And like, to me, Kevin, they think they're being smart, but to me,
Can I just read the tweet so that way people are...
Yeah.
Because just in case they're listening to this.
That's right. The audio-only version. Good call, Kevin.
So Adam Harstead tweeted this February 2nd. Saints are currently $83 million over the cap per overthecap.com. If they woke up this morning and cut every player who represented a cap savings, they'd still be $40 million over, and then they'd need to sign 40 more dudes at veteran minimum, which would push them back to $65 million plus over the cap.
So the reason why I hate that take, and I'm going to make a comparison to maybe your life or my life, is they said they're basically saying if the Saints did this thing, which they would never do and don't have to do, it would be a disaster. It'd be like you saying to me, Ralph, if you empty your bank account and sell both of your cars, you still do not have enough money to pay off what's left on the mortgage on your house. Well, no shit, but I'm not going to do that. I don't have to do that. Why are we even discussing these hypotheticals that are never going to happen? If you want to have a cap discussion about the Saints, Adam or whoever, we can have that discussion. But this is stupid and lazy, and that's what bothers me, is there's a ton of stuff, Kevin. If you want to rip into the Saints and how they're running their team and what they're doing, you can do it. But this particular thing, which, by the way, I should have pulled like 3 or 4 different people, because the quote-unquote smart people, they tweeted all the time. Nora Princiati, I tweeted at her 3 years ago in 2021. I was like, she's like, there's no way Lattimore, Ramczyk, and Kamara will be, and Marcus Williams, there's no way they're going to be on the team in 2021. They can't afford it. And I'm like, Nora, how about this? I'll bet you they'll all be on the team. And if they're not, you put a paper bag on your head, because I'm 100% sure all those dudes will be on the Saints in 2021. And they were. Even Marcus Williams, they were like, they're $100 million over, and they're $100 million over. There's no way they're going to get under and tag him. Guess what? They got under the $100 million and still tag Marcus Williams to keep him another year. So like, there's a ton of stuff to argue about the cap, but these people, they're just lazy and or stupid with their Saints cap takes. And that's what infuriates me as I spend too much time of my life on Twitter.
You can I went ahead and restructured. and look, I'm not getting sucked into this. Like, I don't fully understand how this kind of stuff works. How the maths or whatever. All I'm doing is hitting a button that says restructure the base salary.
Mm-hmm.
And now, granted, I picked 5 players, 5 very costly players, and hit restructure. And you save $36 million there by doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know
yeah.
It's like there's ways to do it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm literally a monkey in the space capsule pushing buttons and seeing a result, and that just says, oh, these numbers are going down because you restructured this. I don't know if that's feasible for the Saints to do, but this thing's telling me I have the option to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe the Saints can restructure guys. Maybe they wait till after whatever
you can
the cut
designate
day is
2 guys post June 1st.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, is that
the Saints have allegedly been in cap hell when Breeze was still on the team.
That's right.
And I want to know how many of these people that are talking about how the Saints are in cap hell and need to start tightening the belt and all this other kind of shit. I want to know how many of them were on the Drew Brees is on a steady decline campaign from several years ago. Drew Brees was on a steady decline since like 2012 or something. And the guy played another 7 years. So
yeah. I yelled at a couple of, I pull out the link. I'm like, this is a Bill Barnwell article from 2015, and it was blow it up on the bayou. The Saints are in cap hell. They're never getting out. And then I was like, and then in 2016 and 2017, the Saints killed the draft, and it's a miracle it was solved. And they're like,
right.
Well, do you think that they're going to have good drafts and good quarterbacks walking through that door with Drew Brees? I'm like, I don't know. But what you're telling me is they're 100% doomed. And I'm telling you, there's a path out, and it's the draft. Now,
No. You see, Ralph, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to doom and gloom all the time. You are supposed to make yourself miserable. You're supposed to make others around you miserable. And you're supposed to commiserate with other like-minded people that want to just live in misery about the damn football team and have zero optimism at any point about anything, regardless of who's quarterback, regardless of who's coach, blah, 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 so on and so on. You're not allowed to be positive.
Now, the thing that
Toxic optimism.
That's me. I'm going to get Dave to make me a shirt. Toxic optimism with the Saints Happy Hour logo. We'll sell dozens of them. The thing that frustrates me with the Saints, Kevin, and I think the argument, if you want to be critical of the Saints, their cap management, as long as Gale is fine with cutting these bonus checks and doing these restructures, because when you restructure, you got to cut the bonus checks, and it's a lot for Gale. Like, the Saints spend a ton of money every year, cash out the door, even though they're not, quote unquote, huge spenders in free agency, right? So as long as Gale wants to do that, you can always kick the can down the road. And besides, the cap always goes up unless there's a pandemic, worldwide global pandemic. It's always going to go up about 7 to 10% a year. So you can make the Saints make the argument $1 now in the cap is worth more than $1 in 3 years as the cap goes up. But my thing with the Saints, the thing that I think I wish more sort of smart people on Twitter or whatever would want to discuss, to me, Kevin, is the thing that makes it less likely that the Saints are going to be able to extract themselves from this is they are still running their draft like they have the best roster in the NFL, where in 2018, 2018 and 2019 and 2020, if you wanted to trade up and you said, hey, our roster is the best roster in the NFL, we only have 4 spots for rookies. We only have 5 spots. So we'll trade up and we'll get McCoy. We need a center. We'll get C.D. Deuce. And we only need, so what if we only draft 5 guys? It doesn't matter. Our roster's loaded. And that was fine when you had the best roster in the NFL. Now they need desperately, because the avenue out, they don't have an elite coach. They don't have an elite quarterback. The only path out of this, Kevin, the only path out of this from, we want to call it purgatory, mediocrity, whatever. The only path out for the Saints is through the draft. And they're still doing the trade up nonsense. And that, to me, is the discussion that I would love to have with these people, instead of saying, well, if they cut 45 guys, they can't get it under the cap and they're screwed. And it's like, well, that's a dumb hypothetical. If you want to talk to me about maybe they should freaking stop trading up and have a draft of 10 guys, 8 guys instead of 4, that's a discussion I think is worth having.
So are you advising that the New Orleans Saints somehow acquire more draft picks?
No, because that's a dream. That's a hypothetical pipe dream. That's as dumb as saying.
Not correct yourself now. You let me have this. You let me have this as I stroke my imaginary beard here.
I mean, yes. In a perfect world, I think the Saints need a gigantic draft class. Like because they have a ton of holes, and they're not going to have a ton of cap space probably to fill holes, and they're not really an appealing destination for free agents anyway. So like the draft is it.
All right.
So here's my thing on this, Kevin, with this with the draft and with the salary cap. Do you see the Saints not change, because they're kind of just like, this is how they roll, as long as Gale cuts the checks, it's fine. But do you see sort of, I don't want to use the Titanic reference, because then the Titanic, we know, hit the iceberg and it was doomed. But are they like a battleship? And do you see them kind of maybe not going crazy with restructures this year and trying to steer the battleship to more normal cap operations like other teams? Do you get the sense that maybe they'll do that? Or are we just going to have more of Loomis, damn the torpedoes, creating $30 million of cap space, trading future assets, the party goes on, I'm not leaving, Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio style?
Yeah, look, that is my fear that Mickey is gonna just we're gonna trade the 40, pick 45 or whatever. Yeah, it's pick 45.
That's right.
And we're gonna trade pick 45 in like a 3rd round next year or something to move up higher up in the 2nd, or even that would probably be it. Higher up in the 2nd, that would probably how the calculus would work on that.
That's right.
And it's just he'll be playing Emerson, Lake, and Palmer in the war room, just screaming, "Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends." And
that's right.
I'm gonna be, y'all are gonna be having to text me like I'm on self-harm watch.
Well, I'm with you now, Kevin. I'm with you now on this.
I'm afraid. Yes, I do worry about that. I greatly worry about that. Yes, it is far more likely that Mickey Loomis is going to do what Mickey Loomis and the organization have done for many years. And I don't think they've traded down. I couldn't tell you the last time they've traded down. I really don't know.
The only time I remember them trading down, I think, was the 2000 and when they drafted Courtney Brown, the linebacker from Notre Dame. 2002 or 3, I was working the draft for WWL, and I was like, okay, cool, the 2nd round, they're going to pick, and I'm going to get to go home after being here since 5 a.m. And they traded down with Detroit, and they ended up drafting Courtney Watson later. I think that's the only time I can ever remember Loomis doing it. I could be wrong.
Right. I get that the odds are all against. That doesn't mean that I'm still not going to hope for it and want to.
Well, here's my thing. That's all. I'm with you. I hope they trade down, and I want them to. But my thing is, that's like the dream of dreams. I'll settle, Kevin, and I'm banging the table, just stop trading up. And for the love of God, if you are going to trade up, do not trade future assets that are top 4-round picks. And here's why, Kevin.
They can't not do that. They can't. I'm looking at that.
Well, they don't have a 3rd or a 4th round pick this year, but they're getting the comp pick. So they might get a 4th round comp pick.
Wait, when is the 136? Pick 136, is right at the end of the 4th round. So they're literally going from
45.
mid-second round to end of the 4th round. You can't trade anything from there. You can't.
I mean, in theory, they're going to get 3 comp picks.
Yeah, they are going to get 3 comp picks.
One of them might be a 4th.
Yeah, it's 136. That's the end of the 4th round.
No, that's a pick they already have. I think they're going to get.
That's
more.
the one that it's got a C on that.
Oh, okay. So they're projecting that's the Caden Ellis pick. They think it's going to be a 4th. But that's the thing, Kevin. To me, the danger is the Saints is what happened in 2022, right? You traded with Philadelphia and you took a pick from 2020, you took the pick from 2023 and you gave it to them, and because you thought you were going to be good, and it ended up being a top 10 pick. Now that you don't have Drew Brees and you don't have Sean Payton, there's no floor to how far it could fall. So when you say, we're just trading a 3rd in 2025, what's the big deal? That 3rd round pick might be pick 69. It might be pick 68. You might be picking top 5 if it goes wrong. And now the possibility that it can go wrong, to me, is much more real than it ever was with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. So when you're trading those 3rd round picks, those 4th round picks, God forbid a 2nd round pick, you might be trading pick 38. So to bring it back around, that's the argument that I want to have.
They only have 6 picks in 2025.
Yeah. That's the argument I want to have. But the cap people want to do these stupid hypotheticals with the Saints where as long as Gale, and listen to me now, believe me later, as long as Gale is cool with spending $70 to $100 million in cash to push it out to the next year, the Saints can do this forever. They can do it now. They could do it in 2027. They could do it in 2035, God willing, if Gale's still alive and she's cool with it. So, to me, the arguments that people have about the Saints, they're all wrong. But they just want to be clever and cute with their cap analogies. And it drives me freaking up the wall, Kevin, up the wall.
I don't know. They want to act like there's rules on this thing, and when somebody kind of deviates from that, it's like you're tweaking a machine or something, and that doesn't compute. It just doesn't work. It's like you're loading your dishwasher up with bricks.
And final thing on it is the celebrating of cap space is basically celebrating teams not spending money. And that annoys me to no end. They're like, oh, that team, they got $80 million. The Washington Commanders, they have $80 million of cap space. Yeah, you know why? Because they suck. And Daniel Snyder was kind of cheap.
He was also a shitty
and
person.
He was all around crappy
owner.
And these teams.
Go look up, I tell you what, you want to celebrate that? Go look up all the glowing pieces about the Commanders/Redskins organization and Dan Snyder over the years. Go find them. I tell you what, you like organizations that don't spend money? Go be a fan of the Tampa Bay Rays. Go be a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's right.
Let me know how that works out for you. Go be a fan. Go find all the cheap organizations. I tell you what, go across the pond, go meet with people who are fans of some 4th-tier soccer team that spend collectively less than $1 million assembling a roster Let me know how that works out for you. Shit, there's teams currently in the Premier League that are cheap AF. Go be fans of them and watch them get trounced all the time. Watch them get zero buzz, and then watch them get relegated. Go be fans of cheap ass organizations. Okay, we're not. It's not like. And granted, that's damn free for all. It's not like we're saying, oh, we need to be spending like we got Saudi oil money here and all this other kind of nonsense. All they're doing is they're manipulating the books and moving things around within the rules, within a structure of some kind. If it wasn't allowed, I guarantee you the NFL would crack down on it.
Yeah.
Guarantee you. But they're able to do it, and so they do it, and they keep moving things back, and they keep extending things or shuffling some papers around.
Why? Like, yeah.
What do you fucking care?
That's right.
What do you really fucking care?
Yeah. It's like
How they do it.
It's like one of these years, whatever. And it drives me, it drives me nuts because there's serious Saints conversations we could be having, but all people want to do is yell about their salary cap. And they've been doing it for a decade. They're waiting for their ship to come in when the Saints have $80 million of dead cap or whatever. They wait for it. I hope Gail lives to be 100, and they never see it because she constantly just is like, cool, cash the check, write the check. All right, Thomas, what's next?
All right, next topic. There you go, Ralphie.
All right, I'll read this one. This is from TJ Jones, friend of the podcast. I've been on his State of the Saints, and he's a fun guy. But me and him, we get a little heated on Twitter sometimes, arguing back and forth. But I like this tweet from him, and I thought it was really good. And he said, "You can't ask for change and get upset when change takes place. Saints fans asked for an overhaul, and that's what you're getting." And I want to say thank you, TJ, because here's the thing, Kevin. Everybody's like, I want change on offense. I'm tired of the Sean Payton offense. I'm tired of Pete Carmichael. I want them all gone. And then they fired Pete Carmichael. And guess what? The new offensive coordinator, he's going to want to bring his own guys. So bye-bye, Doug Marrone. Ronald Curry, who everybody liked and who thought was a good guy, he went to Buffalo. The assistant offensive line coach, he went to Tampa. There's another guy that I'm forgetting his name. He's out the door. Like, you wanted, the running backs, the coach, the wide receiver coach, both, boom, boom, out the door. You wanted change. Like, what did you think? Did you think that they were just going to get rid of Pete Carmichael and the new offensive coordinator who was going to come here?
No. See, so two things on this. First of all, to TJ's point, hi, welcome to Twitter.com. Second, when people say they wanted change, what they really meant was they want DA gone, they want Derek Carr gone, and that's it. Nothing else is going to make them happy until those two guys are gone. That's it. There's going to be a sect of the fandom that just is going to be permanently against Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. And don't get me wrong, most of the criticism is warranted, and I get the demand. I understand the demand to be like, these guys stink or I want them gone. I get it, but team went 9-8. Team looked pretty good the last 5 weeks. Derek Carr kind of righted his own personal ship in the last 5 weeks. Right. He played pretty well. Played pretty damn well in the last 5 weeks.
Breakfast is with Demario Davis turned the ship around. Him and Demario were having breakfast every week.
So if the Saints come out and get 10 wins, or if they make the playoffs, DA ain't going anywhere and Derek Carr ain't going anywhere.
Well, here's the thing with the people that hate Derek Carr and hate Dennis Allen. It's like the old Bum Phillips statement of there's two types of coaches. Them that's fired and them that's gonna get fired. So, like, the people that hate Dennis Allen, they're not wrong on Dennis Allen. Like, he will be fired. I guarantee you. Like, me and you, Kevin, we may live to be 90 and both be in the same home together. Like, I don't think in my lifetime we're ever going to see a Saints coach retire like Sean Payton did and then get traded for draft picks. Like, that ain't happening again. The rest of the coaches the Saints have in our lifetime, whether they do well, great, or whatever, they're going to get fired. And Dennis Allen is going to get fired. Maybe it'll be in 2025. Maybe it'll be in 2027. I don't know. Maybe he turns around. So, like, the people that hate him, when he gets fired, they're going to say, told you so. That shit should have happened sooner.
But okay, so you've been screaming about it and miserable about it for X number of years. Why? Like, why are you doing that? Why not just be like, look, I want the team to be better. They got to do this and they got to do that. Now, look, if the team is like 2-6 after 8 weeks, I get screaming, you got to fire the coach and all this other kind of stuff. But again, when Dennis Allen gets fired, whether it's after next year or 3 years from now, if you want to go out in the street and celebrate, go for it. I get it. Because chances are it's going to be totally deserved. There are going to be a ton of people on Twitter retweeting, liking things, enjoying memes and all this other kind of stuff, celebrating the fact that he's gone, and we're going to bring somebody else in new. We're going to bring somebody new in or whatever. When Derek Carr finally is done with the Saints, and if he's just been mediocre or bang average or whatever, or hasn't lived up to expectations and people want to celebrate about it, great. But, like, why make yourself consistently miserable about the team with those two guys who, it's like, they're not going anywhere right now. They're not.
Yeah.
So just say, it's like, you fix the things you can, and you make changes where they actually can be made, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
Like
be happy or be miserable. Like, I hope it works out.
They got rid of Pete Carmichael. They got rid of Uf Marone. They got rid of the other guy, and they let the other guy
Cody
go.
Burns.
They brought in a new offensive coordinator who everybody seems to like. So there should be reason for some positivity. We still got the draft to come.
That's right.
Like, I don't know.
Excited.
And again, it's, look, you can be toxic optimism. I'm just going to be like, why?
Hopeful.
Like, why get so mad?
I believe in toxic positivity. The Saints give me one little morsel, I will turn it into a banquet of hope. That's what I do. So speaking of the draft and hope, Thomas, get to our last topic. We're going to give these people some toxic positivity.
All right, toxic positivity.
So this is a Matt Miller, a great writer for ESPN.com. He did a 2-round mock, Kevin.
Yay!
And he had the Saints
2 rounds.
Amateur, right? Right. He did a 2-round mock for the Saints, and he had the Saints taking Brock Bowers at 14. And I will say, I will get on board with the Brock Bowers pick out, but I'll need to watch his YouTube highlights 3 or 4 times after they pick him to get on board. But right now, like, I low-key don't like that pick, and here's why. Because rookie tight ends don't do that great.
Hang on. Let me back you up on that.
Except for my boy Laporta.
Can I back you up on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Jimmy Graham's rookie season, 31 catches, 356 yards, 5 touchdowns. Touchdowns are cool, but that's for a rookie. Tony Gonzalez, rookie year, 33 catches, 2 touchdowns. Antonio Gates, rookie year, 24 catches, 2 touchdowns. Jeremy Shockey, the Shockmaster. Surprisingly here, 74 catches, 894 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he had a good rookie year. Jason Witten, 35 catches, 1 touchdown his rookie year. Shannon Sharp. Shannon's the worst of the bunch. His rookie year, 7 catches, 1 touchdown. Yeah. Now, and according to them, he was there all 16 games. Okay, so let's say you want to discount that first year and you want to count Shannon Sharp's second year. I'll even let you do that. 22 catches, 322 yards, 1 touchdown. Shockey is an outlier. Here's the other outlier. Rob Gronkowski, 42 catches, 546 yards, 10 touchdowns.
Yeah,
So these are all either Hall of Famers or all pros or exceptionally good players for their respective teams.
well, that's my thing. Is if you draft, and here's the thing, like that's that group. They have other tight ends that have been drafted high that didn't reach that pinnacle. Like to me, if you draft Brock Bowers at 14, he better be.
He ought to be.
Close
He better
to be
be
Pro
contending
Bowl.
for Rookie of the Year. He better be contending for All Pro
In 2
Like-
years.
Yeah,
But here's the thing. History tells us if you draft Brock Bowers at 14, it's going to give you 30 catches and 4 touchdowns. And that's if he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory or close to it, right? The problem I have with that is I want the Saints to win in 2024. And I don't think that gets them near as close as if they pick a defensive end or they pick an offensive tackle or they pick even a receiver, right? Or a defensive tackle. Now, in a perfect world, Kevin, since I said at the beginning, I'm going to give the people toxic positivity. I would be over the moon if the Saints got Brock Bowers, even if you slid down from like 14 to like 18 and you got a 3rd round pick, which you don't have, then, Ralph's over the moon now because you got trade down. But that's like saying I'm going to win the Powerball tonight. We know the Saints never do that. But I wanted your thoughts.
Brock Bowers probably won't be there at 18. That's the thing.
You do these mock drafts all the time.
Right.
My question to you is, because I think by you doing the research on the tight ends, you kind of agree with me that like tight end, not ideal at 14 for the Saints. What positions would you take would you pass on Brock Bowers and draft that position instead?
All right. So I looked up the PFF big board. In the entire draft, they have 15 tight ends. 15 out of the PFF top.
Mm-hmm.
The last one they have ranked is ranked 277. And it's this fella from Sacramento State. So of the 15, that's it. It's 15 for the entire draft. Brock Bowers, and then a giant jump, and then it's Jatavion Sanders, and then another big jump, and then you get Cade Stover, A.J. Barner, Theo Johnson, and Dallin Holker. Actually, Cade Stover it's another big. It's a smaller jump from Cade Stover, and then it's Barner, Theo Johnson, Dallin Holker, and Ben Sinnott all sort of lumped together in about within 40 spots of one another. So it's like you want to grab a tight end. Like you're going to grab the tight end at 14. The Saints have far more important needs.
That's right.
I question the wisdom of drafting Brock Bowers at 14. Now, like you said, if you traded down, although I don't think he's going to be there, PFF has him ranked 6th overall.
He was born to be a Charger. Jim Harbaugh is totally taking Brock Bowers.
Honestly, if he's there after 10, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
So if the Saints trade down, I don't see Brock Bowers falling to him. Horseshoe up the ass. If the Saints traded down to like 19 or 20 and somehow Brock Bowers fell that far and they grabbed him, okay, fine. But your next pick then, must be a tackle. Be a tackle.
Here's my question to you. And in this scenario, no trading down. Because I know your dream scenario for the Saints trading down. I'm your vice president in the Trade Downs Association. I get that. But in 2017, everybody looks back and is like, oh, the Saints should have picked Patrick Mahomes. I wish I can tell you, during that draft, Andrew Juge was calling me, texting me. He was by pick like 7. That son of a bitch was like hyperventilating in a paper bag. He was so excited about Lattimore falling to the Saints. He's like, oh my God, they need a corner. This is happening. I cannot believe this. And he was over the moon excited about Lattimore, which turned out to be correct, by the way. So here's my question to you. The Saints are picking at 14. What is the player that you on our text chain for the show will start getting ridiculously excited? And if he's there at 14, it will take you 5 seconds to want the Saints to write his name out and turn in the card. And it can be realistic, it can be unrealistic, your dream.
All right, let's see.
Because I have my realistic dream and I have my pipe dream.
Okay. The realistic dream, and this is assuming no trading down. So the realistic dream would be if Joe Alt, the tackle from Notre Dame, dropped to 14.
Yeah.
Do I want to say this because it kind of goes against it goes against my belief system. But it's like he's, stand. But then it's the no trade down thing, and like that goes again.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say the realistic dream is Joe Alt. The pipe dream is Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Thomas walks out, we slide in another OSU grad. Or not grad.
My pipe dream it's not a Saints player getting this is my realistic dream. And it's not
the realistic one first.
The realistic one. And I'm seeing this on Twitter, and I'm seeing it from reporters and scouts that I know talk to people and I know have good information. My realistic dream is, besides the top 3 quarterbacks, another quarterback goes top 10. Whether that's J.J. McCarthy, who's the guy that a lot of people are talking about, Benjamin Albright, the guy who was not a friend of the program, but we've had him on. He says, hey, he's hearing a great buzz about him, and I've heard other people say that as well. That, to me, Kevin, is my realistic dream, because if you add a 4th quarterback to the top 10, that means either a defensive end or an offensive tackle becomes much, much more likely they fall to the Saints. So that's my realistic dream. Like, we get a 4th quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. Just give me one of those guys in the top 10.
Hang on a second. You're telling me, so for starters, you're hoping Jaden Daniels goes in the top 10. PFF currently has him at 11th. Not only that, you're now hoping that either Bo Nix goes up 10 spots, Michael Penix Jr. goes up, or Penix. Is it Penix or Penix?
Penix.
Okay. That Michael Penix Jr. somehow goes up 20 spots, or J.J. McCarthy somehow goes up 42 spots.
I'm just saying, 10. I'm seeing the things on the Twitter. I got a mock draft up from February.
You better hope Bo Nix, Penix, and or McCarthy. Actually, you better hope all 3 of them have really good combines.
Well, I got Zerline, Darren. I mean, I that's my realistic hope. I'm not saying all of them. I I just need
Right,
one
but
team.
what I'm saying is, if all three of them have really good combines, if they do well on the Wonderlic, if they meet the coaches and they answer the right questions, and hopefully the coaches don't embarrass them goddamn selves asking stupid questions about somebody's mom or whatever.
That's right.
And everything goes hunky dory. Teams are going. I want as many of those guys as possible to look as appetizing as possible for GMs and scouts and all that kind of stuff. That way, then you got a greater shot of at least one of them moving up into the top 10.
And even if they don't
panic, you need a team to panic.
And here's the thing, you know this, Kevin. I mean, look, the Bears traded up to get Mitchell Trubisky. Teams get it. Teams lock in on players at all positions, but quarterback, it's even to another degree where they fall in love and they're like, we got to get him. So that's my realistic scenario. Give me one quarterback that goes 4 quarterbacks in the top 10 and give me a couple even more quarterbacks before pick 45. Because if you get 5, 6 quarterbacks going in the top 40, more players push down, the Saints can do something at 45. My dream scenario, absolute dream scenario is, and I feel bad because I know that there's absolutely, if every mock draft that I've seen, he's not there for the Saints at 14 because he's skyrocketing up the board. But my dream scenario, because 1, he feels a need for the Saints, but 2, the jokes will be off the chain because I will never be able to pronounce this poor man's name. Olomomio Fashanu.
Oh, from Penn State?
From the tackle from Penn State.
Yeah.
He's my absolute dream, unrealistic scenario at 14, toxic positivity. If he was there at 14 and the Saints picked him, I will do the draft show drunk and shirtless. If the Saints pick him at 14. Now, if they trade up and get him, I won't do it shirtless. I'll get over it eventually. But if they pick him at 14, drunk and shirtless, that's a guarantee. That's a promise.
All right.
So, guys, I hope you liked the show. Me and Kevin just hopping around Saints Twitter land, yelling and screaming about different people's tweets and takes. Please support the show. We had record downloads this week. Thanks to everybody for supporting the show. Listen in if you listen on audio only version. Like us, subscribe us, give us a review wherever you find your podcast. Like you find us on YouTube. Like, review, subscribe, and support the show. Go to Saints Happy Hour, become a patron. So for Kevin, for Thomas running the show back in Poland, I'm Ralph. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, the bar is closed.